What if I told you you didn't physically have to go to work ever again? No more 30-minute commutes with deadlocked traffic, no more filling up your tank before work because you forgot the night before. Instead, you get to sleep in that much longer prior to beginning your day. As you're probably aware, this is already a part of our lives. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, we have to find new solutions to go about business. But as nice as the concept of working from home sounds, we need to remember that there could be some risks. The risks in this case, the online communications website Zoom. Zoom meetings have taken the world by storm ever since the COVID-19 pandemic began. As the pandemic became a more prevalent situation, the need for a solution to continue to work arose. From work meetings to birthday parties, weddings to education, there seems to be nothing that Zoom can't substitute for. But these huge benefits have had growing pains. Allow me to elaborate. The FBI has warned about a number of risks involved with using the platform, suggesting that you should exercise due diligence and caution in cybersecurity efforts. Because of this, we need to be sure that we are acting appropriately and protecting ourselves. Because while these new advances are a benefit to our situation, they pose risks to our personal data and what we expose ourselves to. I will summarize with you today 3 different factors that may change your opinion about Zoom and what you should do in order to protect yourself. You must be thinking to yourself, Kaylee, you keep referencing negative situations that come up out of using Zoom, but you haven't given us specific examples. Say no more. Let's admit it, no one is capable of giving 100% effort 100% of the time when they're at work. But it may be an expectation on the part of our bosses, however. With the introduction of Zoom, the platform allows bosses to hold you accountable. With some Zoom features, your employer is able to see how active you are during video conferences. According to Morris from Mashable.com in March 2020, hosts of meetings are capable of a few abilities that you may not have been aware of. Hosts of meetings are able to see if you actively have the app in focus, meaning that you have the meeting open and active at all times. Zoom allows for subscribers who pay for the service the ability to record meetings, which allow a variety of personnel who did not attend the meeting to witness what occurred without the knowledge of those who partook. Zoom also allows hosts of meetings to receive a transcript of person-to-person chat. This means that if you decide to personally message a bit of inappropriate information to a colleague, your employer can see what was said. Lastly, the Mashable article mentions that Zoom has a clever way of selling your private information in forms of advertising tools. Instead of just blatantly selling your personal information, they sell it based on their smart ads that are intended to be personalized to you. Sure, some of these factors may seem as though they infringe on your personal privacy, but realize that the Zoom platform also has the ability for its users to hurt the experience. How do users affect the Zoom experience, you might wonder? Well, there are a few ways. Morrison of Vox.com in April of 2020 mentioned that hackers have been able to find methods that allow them to easily generate active meeting ID numbers, which they can then join meetings that have no password protection. This leads to what publication describes as Zoom bombing. Vox describes Zoom bombing as the act of joining public Zoom meetings and trolling the members by broadcasting unwarranted materials like porn and Nazi imagery. When trolls engage with these meetings, it stifles production and exposes the meeting members to content that they are likely not receptive to. These issues have raised concern in our government systems to the point where the New York Attorney General voiced concern about the subject. Hackman of the New York Times in March of 2020 states that the New York Attorney General's office is concerned that Zoom's existing security practices might not be sufficient to adapt to the recent and sudden surge in both the volume and sensitivity of data being passed through its network. Not knowing what can happen when you attend meetings in order to coordinate with others can be an anxiety-driven experience. Fortunately, however, there are certain actions you can take in order to ease your nerves and feel a bit safer. Thankfully, the ability to adjust your experience is possible. Hussein of the Los Angeles Times in April of 2020 mentioned a few cautionary tips in order to allow you to use Zoom safer. These include, but are not limited to, the following 4 options. 1. Make sure to always use new meeting ID for every session. This creates a limited amount of time for potential hackers to find the ID and wreak havoc. 2. If you host the meeting, you can also make sure these meetings require a new password. 3. Update your desktop app. By doing so, you will get new patches that help update security. And 4, the best option is to use the Zoom app on either Android or iOS device. These apps have to be regulated by their respective app stores. If all of these solutions are not adequate, however, remember that there are other options available. In the case that you are having a conversation on a smaller scale and really need to ensure that your platform values privacy, you can utilize either Signal or WhatsApp. Both of these platforms have end-to-end encryption, which can be an asset if you really need to ensure privacy. In conclusion, we need to better educate ourselves on our internet practices. By realizing that there are risks involved with our new method of communication, we can better police ourselves from making mistakes while attending online meetings. I hope these examples help you not only realize that there is an issue at hand with the Zoom platform, but remember that there are certain practices that you can apply in order to maximize your ability to avoid Zoom bombing and the like. Stay safe.